I found this a very sparkly USA American flag truck at Dollar Tree, and I kind of want to make it my own. So first thing I'm going to do is just start taking it apart. Don't want glitter on mine. I want it to look very kind of vintage, retro, kind of like the shape of the truck. So I just removed both of the hubs there from the truck and the hanger. And you know what? We're going to recreate this on the back and kind of make it our own. I thought we could fill the back of it up with some of those craft board stars that I showed you there instead of the American flag that was on there before. So you know what? It doesn't have to be this sign. You could recreate this with any of the wood trucks from Dollar Tree, even like the plain ones from the Crafter Square. Now, this is pretty easy to cut through this Dollar Tree signs. So I'm just using like an X-Acto blade and kind of cutting through it, trying to get all of the flag off to give me kind of just like a flat back there in the bed of our truck. Now, what we're going to make with this is we're going to make a patriotic little red truck wreath. It turned out really cute. So I don't really need the hanger in there. So I just filled that up with a little bit of spackle and we can get started decorating this truck. I just didn't want mine to be all red and glitz. So we're going to kind of start just DIYing the truck on the other side. I just used the cap off paint just because I needed something because I didn't trust my ability to draw a perfect circle. But I'm just using my black paint pen and we're just going to go ahead and draw on some tires. And if you leave it as is on the other side, you can just flip it over, use it for reference, kind of see what the truck should look like if you want to do a hand-painted one like this. So that's why you keep seeing me flip it. I'm just using an ink pen to kind of like draw on some wheels for this as well, because I do want it to have some details, even though I'm kind of starting on that plain side. So I do kind of want them to look metallic, and I have this like metallic silver paint pen that I am just going to use to kind of color in the rest of that. You guys, I hate it when my paint pens dry out. I find that I don't use them sometimes before they dry out. So you know what? We're just going to kind of go in here with some gray paint. We'll make it work. And a tiny brush. That worked way better. I did want it to be metallic, but whatever. So we painted our little metal rims on, and then I can go back in there with the black paint pen and color like the little triangular cutouts in there. And this little truck turned out so cute. I love the final result here. So now I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and kind of draw it back on. So they had lines on there and I'm just trying to replicate them for like the door. Had a little handle, had a little line there, a little line there. So any details that you think are really important, just draw back on. And I think that the black paint pen will still show up when I go in to paint my little red truck. I'm going to paint mine red too. And I didn't really kind of have the color that I wanted. So I'm mixing some like red with some Antique Wax by Waverly because I really kind of wanted kind of a classy maroon shade. I think that looks really pretty. And see how you can see the black paint pen under it so you can still see the details of the little truck. So I'm just going all over the portions I can, trying to avoid the tires. Just painted those, don't want to mess those up. So I'm just going to switch to a smaller brush and finish painting this. I love the colors. I love how this one turned out. And it's just an easy way. You can take one of these Dollar Tree signs that might be a little bit too glitz and glam, and you can make it look very farmhouse, very rustic, which I would say rustic is how this ends up. And I'm going to go in and paint the back of our little sparkly hubs. Are they hubs? I'm trying to think of what these things are called. I always forget all my truck parts on here. Now I want to decorate the door of mine, and I found these great little gold rub-on things from the Dollar Tree. And I thought it would be really cute if I had like USA like on the door. Sometimes these things work great. You peel and stick. And then I'm rubbing mine with a popsicle stick, and this one actually went on really well. I don't know if it's like maybe the age of them, because sometimes I really have to scrape, put it back down, scrape. This one came off pretty good though. Super cute. And then we can go back in here and put our little truck back together. This one needed maybe a little bit of sanding because, you know, that part was glued down before. So I want that to look nice and good. I'm going to glue it down with a combo of wood glue and hot glue because I am going to make this into a wreath. So want this to be durable, inside or outside. And then just glue that back on. I think this truck looks so much better, like hand painted. It looks just so much more high end, I think. And then we're going to do the same thing here with the other one. Super cute. Now what we need to do is work on the bed of the truck. Before they had an American flag sticking out of the back, which would be cute. You could attach like one of those little American flags from the Dollar Tree. I wanted to make it like a truck bed of stars though. You know your girl's going to distress at first though, right? So I use like an ivory and a chunky brush, just distressing it all in one direction. Sanding it a little bit as well. Just want it to kind of look old, have lots of character. Kind of also distressing over like the USA part and stuff too. It really brings out like all the edges of all the different parts. And then these are the stars I was talking about. I think these things are so cute. I love these little cutout craft wood pieces from the Dollar Tree, and I thought it'd be really cute to have like just a bunch of stars in the back. But I kind of need to do like a bed of the truck, and so I thought like one of these little dowels from the Dollar Tree and maybe a popsicle stick would do the trick. But I do kind of want to stain them, so I'm just going to go over that raw wood with some antique wax by Waverly just to give them a little bit of character, and then we can put this together. I kind of cut off like any kind of structure I had back there because I need something that I'm going to be able to attach to the stars to. So we're just going to flip it over. Here's my little stained dowel. I was able to find some really large dowels at my Crafter Square at Dollar Tree the other day. I couldn't believe it. I've never seen them there. They were so cool. And then I just trimmed, you know, the dowel down to size, and now I'm just using scissors to cut the popsicle stick just to make some little brackets to hold it on. And then it's just a matter of putting it together. I'm just going to use hot glue to glue our little brackets on. And then we can glue the dowel on the front part of those like that. And it just gave us a fun little side to the back of our pickup truck. But it's also going to be functional because it's going to help me to attach the stars there in the back of the truck. Kind of like that. We can kind of pile them up. I do want to paint some of them just to make them colorful, so haven't really used blue on this yet. So I'm just going to use some ocean chalk paint, and we're just going to kind of stain these. You kind of have to be careful with these because they are made out of like a cardboard substance. You don't want to get them too wet, so be, you know, use your paint sparingly on those. But I love the fact that they have all different like cutouts, a little bit different styles. So I just did 3 of them in the blue color, and we'll leave the rest of them in brown because that will kind of match. You know how we kind of stained the back of the truck there with the antique wax by Waverly too. So I just flip it over, and then we can just use hot glue, and we can start gluing those to that rack. just by using some points of the stars. So it'll look like, you know, that the stars are like in the bed of the little patriotic truck. So the little popsicle sticks act as a brace, but they also serve another purpose here because it gives me a point where I can glue my stars on. So I do 4 across. I kind of like mixing up the colors between the brown and the blue. And then we can pile a few more here on top just by kind of gluing them to each other. Super cute little pickup truck. And then this is the wreath that we're going to use to display it on. This is a grapevine wreath from the Dollar Tree. It's not too large, but I think it's going to go really nicely on there. I think it like matches the vibe of the truck. And then I also wanted to do a patriotic bow. I picked this patriotic bow up at Dollar General. I'm sure you could get the same one at Dollar Tree. But I don't really like how bright it is, so I am going to update it a little bit. But I think my truck is ready to go, so I just glue that onto the wreath. I thought about adding some patriotic like berries to that, like red or blue berries to the wreath, but I kind of left it plain. I kind of liked it like that. So the red from our flag ribbon was just too red. So we're going to give this a little makeover. It turned out so cute. I used that same red color that we used, that darkened red color that we used to paint the truck. That way it'll be just the perfect color. And I'm just going over the red stripes, like the flag stripes on the bow. I don't really care if I'm getting some paint on the white stripe in the middle because I'm going to kind of update that as well. I am going to leave like the star part of the bow as is. But for the middle part, I'm going to use some of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It's like the burlap and like string, I guess. Doesn't really matter. They have like lots of patterns of this. This is the one with like the little like O shape all the way across it. And then I just hot glue that on the top of the ribbon for the white stripe. And I think that's going to add a lot of character to this little bow, this cheap little bow from Dollar General. And now it's just a matter of putting it back together. So it's got like kind of like a bread tie on there. I'm going to replace it with some twine. I think that's going to look a little bit better. So I just tie it off with some twine. Kind of reforming the bow, making sure everything is even. And I love this bow. I'm kind of glad that it didn't match before because I think it just turned out so cute looking in the end. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. You could leave just the twine in the middle. I decided to take another piece of that burlap ribbon though and just do the center part of the bow too. Just add a little bit more color there. Isn't that cute? I love it. So now it's just a point of putting it all together. I kind of want to tie it off over to the side. And I left the twine on there for when I tied it off so that I could tie that to the grapevine wreath. And you can kind of see the USA truck there on the back, how it looked before and how it looks now. I really love how this one turned out. So easy. And here it is, our little patriotic little red truck with a truck full of stars.